Welcome to State of the World. I'm Sally Lockwood in Dubai. I've been a journalist for nearly 20 years, covering stories around the world from Ukraine to Afghanistan, most recently as a correspondent and news anchor for Sky News in the UK.
Hi, I'm Tara Palmeri. I'm based in New York and DC, and I've also been a journalist for 15 years, a White House correspondent covering the Trump administration, and now an independent journalist with you, Sally, a friend of mine. One of the women I admire in the business.
And likewise, we're discussing the state of the world in our new podcast from two sides of the globe, but with no sides, no agenda, just our reporting and you as part of our global conversation. So thank you so much for tuning in. Okay, Tara, so you've had a huge scoop, fascinating interview with someone inside Donald Trump's inner circle, advising him unofficially on all sorts of huge issues. Tell us more.
Okay, so Laura Loomer is a far-right activist. She is a proud anti-Islamist, by the way. She calls herself a Jewess. She said that she thinks that 9/11 was an inside job. So she's known as a conspiracy theorist in the U.S., but yet she has so much influence. Who is Laura? Like, how would you describe yourself to my audience?
Well, I'm an investigative reporter. I was the president of the College Republicans. I ran for Congress twice in Florida. I was the first deplatformed candidate in United States history. That means that I was the first candidate for federal office that was denied all access to social media. I am the most banned woman in the world in the sense that I've been banned on every single social media platform. I still don't have access. I only got my X account back when Elon Musk purchased the company. But to this day, I'm still banned on all the other social media sites and, all the payment processors. And people call me a far-right extremist, but at the end of the day, I hate both party establishments. I'm not, necessarily loyal to the Republican Party. Am I a registered Republican? Yeah, I'm a registered Republican, but I'm not going to vote Democrat. But I have disdain and contempt for both political parties. And so there's nothing far-right about me. I'm just focused on accountability. I'm focused on bringing the truth to light, and what you see is what you get with me. And a lot of people have a problem with that. I'm very honest about who I am. I've always been very honest about who I am and what I stand for and the causes that I support and the things that I believe in. But Washington, D.C. is a fake place with fake people. And they don't want somebody around them who is comfortable in who they are and the things that they believe in. And so that's their problem. That's not my problem.
So you at one time considered working for Kanye West. You thought about being his campaign manager.
I never considered working for Kanye West, first of all. Kanye West approached me because he said that I was one of the Jews that he actually liked because I was pro-free speech. I told Kanye West that it was not a good idea to run for president.
Does it bother you what he says, though, about Jewish people? Could you see why?
I haven't talked to Kanye West in years. I mean, the last time I talked to Kanye West was, in the aftermath of the incident at Mar-a-Lago and the dinner between Trump and Fuentes and Kanye West. I was talking to Ye, getting information about the dinner, but also I was informing Ye himself about information I had heard about the individuals who were trying to get millions of dollars out of him and his campaign operation for their own self-interest. And then I told him that I was a supporter of President Trump's when he asked me if I would work on his campaign. And I said that I support President Trump, so I will not be able to assist you with your campaign.
President Trump loves her. I mean, on the record, there are videos of him saying she's beautiful. He admires her. He wants to work with her. She's been on Trump Force One, or his private plane, during the campaign. She says they speak on the phone, and she was able to get into the Oval Office with sheaths of paper. She does vetting, as she calls it. She does background research, and she showed up and she said, here are people that you need to fire from your National Security Council. And President Trump fired them all. How do you have that side door into the Oval Office? How do you get that?
I guess President Trump just likes me.
Mm-hmm. You have a friendship.
Yeah, I would say it's a friendship.
Do you guys talk about anything else outside of, who he advice from your investigations? Or
unlike a lot of the people that work for President Trump, I don't leak the contents of my conversations with President Trump.
Do you think that's why he trusts you so much, though? Because you keep his...
I don't know. I can't speak for President Trump, but I'm a loyal person, and I don't disclose anything private that shouldn't be disclosed. So there's clearly a reason why sometimes President Trump seeks my advice or invites me. I can't speak for the president, but I have been very loyal to President Trump, and I'm a dedicated supporter. And I don't think that I've ever steered the president wrong in any of the information that I've given him. I think that the president is oftentimes very outraged by the information that he gets from me. And he oftentimes on the campaign trail wanted to know why other people who worked for him weren't giving him this information.
It's fucking crazy.
It's crazy. Like, you're just interviewing someone who's incredibly influential in America
more powerful
right
than
now.
the national security advisor. She was in the room with Mike Waltz, and he took her word over his and fired all of his team. So if you fire all these people in the national security apparatus, like, are you concerned that they aren't able to refill these positions quickly enough, like that our national security might be at risk because they are understaffed?
I don't think that our national security is going to be at risk.
Really? Like even the cyber office, like when we're constantly under attack from Iran, China.
There's going to be individuals who
Russia.
are more aligned, who actually are appointed by President Trump.
But then when are you going to get those people in there, those good people in when it's taking so long?
Look,
and then in the meantime, there's a
question. When are they? But I don't think that we should fill positions with incompetent people, right? We shouldn't have incompetent people or people who are loyal to Joe Biden in these positions. It's good to get rid of all the holdovers. You know, the president is actually one of the kindest, most generous, and most forgiving people I've ever met in my life. And he probably shouldn't be.
Do you feel like you need to protect him?
It's not my job to protect the president of the United States. That's what Secret Service is for. Clearly, Secret Service doesn't do a very good job doing that, as we learned.
For people who aren't familiar with her, she's young, right? She's what, 31? What qualifies her to vet national security advisors?
She says that she's looking out for Trump and that's what he cares about more. I mean, he's all about loyalty and she understands that.
I think that he does need to have people in his corner who protect him with information. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, you know, President Trump is never going to have any success, or President Trump is going to have his life in danger unless Laura Loomer is around the president 24/7. I mean, I don't have delusions of grandeur, but I certainly do believe that a lot of the information that I have given him has protected him, and it has prevented disasters from happening, and it has helped his legal team, and it has helped protect President Trump.
What do you think is like the most valuable piece of information that you've ever given him?
I don't know. I mean, I gave a lot of information.
Who's the person who's vetting you? That's the question.
You should go find out. You should go investigate. It could be an exclusive. Tara Palmeri investigates.
Now, Sally, she made a very revealing admission to me, which has never been reported before, about the person that she was there to really expose when she was at the White House.
My concern was, well, you know, if Michael Waltz is the NSC director and or the NSC advisor, and he is saying that he's personally vetting these individuals who have a history of anti-Trump remarks and anti-Trump associations, why would he be signing off on them? And then it reminded me of a video that I've saved in my phone for many years of Michael Waltz on video speaking out against President Trump when he first ran for president, accusing him of being against service members. And so, you know, I was about to show this video to President Trump, and then Michael Waltz, you know, walked into the Oval Office. So, you know, there goes my conversation completely interrupted. But look, facts are facts. So then it just makes me wonder, you know, I could play the video. It just makes me wonder.
Political Action Committee released 2 anti-Donald Trump TV
Well, let's play
ads
the video. Let's just play the video.
He essentially called anyone who was captured in combat a loser. It's something that I just personally can't stomach. Trump.
He said he essentially called anybody captured in combat a loser. It's something that I just personally, you know, can't stomach. So if you can't stomach it, why do you want to work for President Trump? If you can't stomach it, why do you want to work in the administration?
It's kind of extraordinary, isn't it, that someone who isn't even an official member of Donald Trump's team thinks that she wields this sort of power? Do you buy it, Tara?
I do. I mean, yeah, she does. How else? He calls her and invites her into the Oval Office and she gets in. Do you get calls to go into the Oval Office and come in? Do I? Like, do any of these other people? I mean, she's able to sit down with him like world leaders can.
For some reason, the media wants to be outraged by it. They constantly want to find outrage over something, and they've decided to create this narrative that President Trump seeking my advice or President Trump communicating with me or having a friendship with me is somehow strange or unwarranted or unusual.
You were able to fire his entire National Security Council apparatus. That's pretty big.
I said, I present information to the president and he makes his own decisions. And sometimes he's, extremely outraged by the information that I present to him. And he wants to know why other people who work for him don't give him this information. He's somebody that I really admire. And so I would never want to exploit my access to President Trump. I mean, look, a lot of people have asked me in the past, can you help me get access to President Trump? Can you help get this to President Trump? And I think it's inappropriate, personally.
Is there anyone in history that you would compare your relationship to President Trump to? Because a lot of presidents have friends that are outside of the White House who give them advice. Is there anyone that you've thought of in history that you would compare your relationship to?
No, I mean, it's just, President Trump knows a lot of people. He talks to a lot of people. I don't necessarily think that my friendship or, my relationship with President Trump is, extraordinary compared to his relationships with other people.
Donald Trump said himself, she's made various suggestions to him and advised him on, certain, the loyalty of certain members of his team. But he said he listens to all sorts of opinions. That was kind of his defense, right? So I guess I'm just playing devil's advocate here, Is she really as influential as she's making out?
But then when she comes in there with a sheet of paper and she gets more scalps than anyone else in the mainstream media, the Democratic establishment, she's been more effective in taking out members of administration than the opposition party. So,
do you think she's going to get an official role on his team then if he respects her this much?
That's what I said to her. I was like, well, if she said that he would hire her many, many times.
He was just so impressed by my memory and my ability to just rattle off so much information and facts about Ron DeSantis and all of his political opponents. And so he said, oh, Susie, we need to hire her on the spot. She's a lot smarter than a lot of these other morons I have working for me. That's literally a direct quote from Donald Trump. And so I filled out paperwork and ultimately I was supposed to begin on the 1st of April, and then I ended up getting a phone call at 7 o'clock in the morning one day from Jonathan Swan over at the New York Times, and I guess one of President Trump's jealous staffers decided that they wanted to leak the information to the New York Times in a plot to kill off my employment. And so it created this whole controversy. And then, Marjorie Trader Green chimed in. And by the end of the day, some unnamed staffer who worked for President Trump, because nobody wanted to put their name to it, said, oh, Laura Loomer will not be joining the Trump campaign.
And I said, well, isn't this something that Donald Trump can just do?
Sure.
And she seemed to be very evasive about that. She blamed the people around him. She said he can't trust the people around him.
Maybe you'll be the reporter to break that scoop, Tara, find out. You could find out who's blocking me inside the White House. Everybody wants to know.
I think I'm more curious as to why President Trump doesn't do it himself, but...
people should ask. There's White House press briefings. Maybe people should go ask.
It also is a fascinating insight into someone who appears pretty unqualified to have such influence over Donald Trump and to have an audience with Donald Trump so easily in the Oval Office over these sorts of issues, No,
it's just based on loyalty alone. And I think that's what tells you a lot.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. Tara, I think we've covered a lot today.
Yeah.
Great to see you.
Yeah, it's great to see you too. And
great
good luck
to see
with
you
your
as
move,
always.
by the way.
Thank you. I know.
Very stressful.
For those of you who don't know, very few of you who follow me on Instagram will know that I've recently moved to Dubai. So I've been sorting out house move today and then quickly turning on a camera to chat to you. But it's been great. And I'll see you next week, Tara.
See you. Bye, Sal. Cheers.
And hit subscribe if you haven't already. It's free to subscribe, and we really appreciate your support.
Like this, subscribe, comment, share it with your friends. We'll be back again next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.